Bob, we have just about 10 more minutes for the webinar, and I
Yeah.
have a volley of questions. I'm going to pick up a few of those questions and see whether or not we can address some of these questions. So
Yes.
I would take a question which says, in a merger and acquisition situation where two cultures have integrated, how can this process help? How can a culture scan and optimal culture definition help?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me tell you that many authors suggest that if a merger or acquisition fails, it's because the cultures did not fit. There is no
Right.
scientific evidence that that's true. If it would be true, how could in a big organization you still find different subcultures where people still work well together? So we have found that the big question is not whether the cultures of two parties fit, but whether the culture of the strongest party is welcoming people who behave differently. And that depends on this model. Actually, it depends, in this case, it's a topic, or a subdimension. It depends on 4 of the 8 dimensions, whether a culture of the stronger party who realized the merger or acquisition. You probably know that it's very rare that a real merger takes place. It's often just politically correct talk. So is the bigger party fit to make that happen? Because you probably know that many merger and acquisitions are not very successful. What does it mean that they are not successful? It means that the best people of the party who were taken over are running away. They didn't feel welcome. And therefore you lose the best brains, and that's loss of capital, of course. Yeah? So therefore it's very important that the strongest party has a culture which welcomes those who are different, because in every organization has a somewhat different culture. It is unlikely that you ever would find 2 bigger organizations with the same culture. So people will be experienced as different. And I give you one example of the 4 which influence whether it will be successful. That is number 4. In a local culture, people identify with their direct boss or their own work gang. In a professional culture, people identify with their profession, or if they don't have a profession, they identify with the content of their work. Now, where is it functional to have a local culture? For example, in the army, where you want to be able to rely on your compatriot that he will defend you in your bag. So that's very functional. But if you have to be a learning organization, then it's better to have a professional culture. What I've now found is that in many more occasions than I had expected, companies have a less professional culture than they should have. And when you don't have a professional culture, then it has the effect that it will reject people who are different, because you want to rely on people. And if they are different, if they look different, if they behave different, if they dress different, then subconsciously the idea is, can I really trust those other people? So mergers and acquisitions, very much, the success of it very much depends on the culture of the strongest party. And you can do something about it if your culture doesn't make you very fit.